It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hey guys, welcome back everybody. Hello, and welcome to episode 18 of Crack Crown, a Vampire the Masquerade. Oh, is it not 18? What are we at? I looked at the...
No, you're right. It is 18.
That's it. Of Vampire the Masquerade, Crack Crown, 5th edition podcast, or something in that order. Words go in that order somewhere. As always, I am one of your storytellers, Mike Martin, and for the first time in weeks, the whole crew is back together. Josh, Dot, Jason, Mark, and... Bub, it's good to have you back with the crew. We did a couple of one-offs.
We did.
But you're back, and I am very happy to have you back. I hope you're feeling well, man. Everybody's been... I hope you've been getting all the well wishes every week, because chat just asked about you every single time.
Yeah, things are good. I'm back, like I was telling everybody before. I'm banging on all cylinders. We're good here. I'm just there's a couple of things that I can't do, but give me a short few more weeks, and everything will be great.
Well, nice. I don't believe there's anything you can't overcome, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm still working on that flying thing. It's not quite made its way into my system yet.
Well, next thing you can hollow out your bones like the bird.
Thank you for the vote of confidence.
And if I may say, you look dashing, good sir. You're looking fucking great, man. I just want to
appreciate
it. Like the hard work, it just shows on all cylinders, and you're shining, man. I'm proud of you.
I mean, if there's ever a group of people that saw me like start to finish from the beginning of my transformation to now,
wild. It's
true.
Yeah.
It's this lot.
I can't believe we've been together for like 5 years now.
Yeah, dude, it's been.
It's 5 years of like doing shit with you all. Ugh, you're gross.
All right. And two, you're right. You're right.
Really, it gave to us. That's true too.
yeah, fair enough. You know, I lavish in telling people the stories of the things I do. It was a good time. Anyway, today is going to be a super fun one. For those who are watching live stream, buckle in. We got a couple of episodes. It's going to be episode 18 and 19. And also for the live streamers specifically, since Gnome will edit it if need be, going to mess with some new technology today. It may not work as we would like it to, but bear with us as mostly me, try something to elevate the podcast in a little bit of a way, see if it works. We'll see if it works. I'm not going to stress about it one way or another, but just in case things go wonky for a couple minutes, that's why. Other than that, hey, you guys are the reason we get to keep doing this. You guys are the reason we are expanding the Pod by Night network and doing more shows. And it's really the direct support from both patreon.com/podbynight, which is kind of the lifeblood of the show, where you can get a bunch of extras and support us. If you're on the Patreon, you get things like the after show to everything that's streamed here, including SOS Season 3. There's still people that get kind of like don't know where it is. All the after shows are on our Patreon. And if you do the $10 tier, you get video. $5 tier is audio. And then as you go up in tiers, you get more and more things like being able to participate in the community game. That's all text-based. It's kind of like the background of what's happening in Gary, Indiana and stuff, as the main show kind of like rocks Gary, Indiana's world for a bit. You can jump into a Discord that's a whole 100% free to jump in, but if you're part of the Patreon, there's exclusive stuff in there for you, and we cannot just say thank you all enough for the continued support. Really, like when we say you are the lifeblood, we truly mean it. We would not be doing this without you, so thank you for that. That being said, there's also just tell people about the show. That's the other great way to just help us out. As somebody who had a meeting with Spotify the other day because of my podcast, if you're on Spotify, let me just say right now, interaction with the podcast is important. And now episodes can have comments. So if you listen on Spotify, drop a comment, please, because Spotify is using a, surprise, surprise, self-learning algorithm that is pushing things to eyes as they like try to promote things. And they're also, for us, we can put Q&As with every poll, which also, like, you know, like, did you like this? Did you like that? And then all that interaction feeds into if the show gets pushed to new eyes. So if you're on Spotify, and I imagine a little chunk of our listenership is,
I know for a fact, based on the fact I see our analytics, that the majority of you use Spotify.
Yeah. So, hey, interact, share it, let us know.
Sean, stupid decision counter.
Yeah,
Go.
exactly. Yes. Oh, that's a great. If you could just let us know in Spotify how many stupid decisions Sean's has made up to this point, that'd be great. But that's all very important. And so, like, if you just want like a free way to support us, that's the next way to do that. Podcasting in general, a lot of different areas are really taking on new things. YouTube alone, like a couple weeks ago, introduced a whole new podcasting section for creators. I don't know if you saw that. So interacting with podcasts on YouTube also has a whole new algorithm attached to it. So please go fuck with that too. So all that stuff, please, it's the stuff that was bound to happen to podcasts eventually. That's another great way to just kind of keep the show moving and putting in front of new eyes. We were like, again, in the top 100 game podcasts of the US in Apple charts last week. We always hit charts in South Korea. We're like always in the top 50, maybe sometimes like top 100. It's really cool, man. So thank you guys for listening. It's great. Okay. I want to put this out there for those there's some people in the chat. Does anyone want to give a quick recap as what happened the last time the whole crew was together? Not the one-offs, but what happened the last time the whole crew was together? And I'm gonna say, Josh has got looking for notes, so I'm gonna Josh, you're gonna do it because you made it obvious you were looking at your notes.
It's big. So I'm not great at notes, but let's give this a go. Last time we were all together, we all decided to start learning about Gary, going off on little excursions into different places. And this might not be in the right order, but Sean went back to the creepy house, went into the basement, and found out that there was a Malkavian down there who was the source of the visionary rumors. So the visionary was a person, and her sister was her carer, who was also a Malkavian, who Sean only threatened a little bit, and he got out with his life. Big win. Then, while Robert was walking around, he found an old friend, which is scary because that old friend is ex-Prince Maxwell, aka Fancy Pants.
The prince that ruled while he was living in Chicago initially.
In Prince of Chicago, before all of the other princes of Chicago. And yeah, apparently they're good friends. Robert was appropriately distrustful, I feel, and basically didn't give him any signs, yes or no, but got an offer to work together rather than be exterminated, which is, a big play, given how vengeful our entire coterie seems to be.
Very true.
And we found all of that information, brought it together, and we're starting to build a plan. We have a new place, which is fortunate for a thing I will mention in a minute. We have a bank on the way, which is not only a blood bank, but a way of injecting money into a severely deprived community of Gary, which will hopefully in turn help us turn around this city in some way so it's able to support the excessive amount of vampires that are living here. Unfortunately, the Anarchs found out that we were Camarilla and firebombed.
You say found out like they discovered it through some sort of like detective work when you guys are just like, hey, we're with Jackson. Everybody cool?
Get out.
They really put in a lot of work to figure that one out.
Well, I mean, if we hadn't helped them, they would never have. But they turned up in a car, set fire to the wrong part of the tire shop, which is great for our insurance claims. And then Robert and Vera initiated the scariest assault on a vehicle I have ever seen, murdering one person, crashing the car, and taking Arthur the Anarch hostage. And he was basically like, fuck you, Camarilla pig dogs.
Pretty much.
And we were like, cool, good to know. And then I think we let him go or something.
You killed two people. There's three people in that car. Two were his like ghoul lackeys and one was him. Robert put a bullet in the back of the head in his first shot on one of them. And then he shot the other one as Vera ran up to the car, double daggered the back tires, ripped them as they spun out, crashed into a tree. Oh, it was scary as hell to see the two of you. I wasn't expecting that.
And then we claimed insurance fraud.
That's what made Duke proud. See, they left that part out for Duke when you told Duke what happened. You kind of like gave him the long and short of it, more or less. And everything else, that was it, right? Because then
Yeah.
Duke left after that.
One last detail, which is because of Robert, we now have a meeting in a couple of nights or something with Fancy Pants himself.
And this will be after Duke
so, yeah.
returns. So, yeah, the meeting will happen this episode or next. Probably next. All right. That said, I'm eager to jump in. As always, thank you guys again. If you want to watch the VOD, if you missed the VOD, please, if you're a subscriber, watch it right away. Or head over to, or head over to youtube.com/podbynight. We put it up there as well once things are kind of out and ready. With that said, if we're all ready, let's set the scene, rein things in, and see what our coterie is up to. Instead of the noisy honking horns or arguments or crashing bottles, spray paints, or loud animals running out of trash cans that we normally are greeted with when we revisit Gary, Indiana on another night as the moon rises. Instead, it is all muted, muffled. No little noises eke our way into our ears. No crashing or arguing voices, no walking steps. Instead, it's the light trickle of water that we hear. And as we begin to bring that noise in, then our vision slowly fades in from black. Initially, if we were kind, we wouldn't be able to see a thing. Pitch black. But if you are kind, like we all are, you would recognize that where we sit is a very familiar sewer system. And I say familiar because, Max, all sewer systems at this point feel the same. You've been in so many. We do not hear footsteps, nor see Max. We know his presence is there, and a camera seems to linger behind and follow a figure that we cannot see with our own eyes. It isn't long before we fade to black again and cut back. Max, you are still invisible, and out in the distance, just under a little bit of dripping water from a storm drain, about 4 feet above you, someone in ragged clothes, an old Power Rangers t-shirt, horribly faded, and a long, ripped jeans that probably haven't been washed in 10 years, sits leaning up against the wall, the water trickling under his feet and over it. It's the stink and the disgustingness of the entire area, with the mildew and mold growing on the walls, roaches scattering away, and even weird little frogs and snakes slither away. All move through and past him. You do not recognize this face, but you know you were supposed to meet someone here. You were simply given a name. Levi.
Max will appear as he lights a cigarette.
And it's with the flame and the click. We see first the orange flame, close. And then we pull our vision back, and standing there, seemingly appearing out of nowhere, is a familiar purple-skinned bastard. The long, are we wearing your usual overcoat? Are you wearing like your with a scarf around your face and a hat, or are you more?
Yeah. I think, well, I knew where I was going, so I don't think I'm all wrapped up, but I'm not in my bathrobe. I'm in my outside clothes. Yeah, come prepared, so the Kevlar's on. Got all my stuff with me. The usual accoutrement. And as Max appears, he says, "Hey, you Levi, what's the rumpus?"
The sound of the flame quite normally makes Kindred eyes flicker, even if the worry and the fear of flame, that small, is long something they've overcome. There's always a little something buried underneath that scares them. And I say this because as Levi reacts to the flame, can I get a wit's awareness, or a wit's insight rather, from you, Max? Well, you technically beat the difficulty. You probably don't want to use willpower for that unless you do. It's your call. It's early.
Nah, that's fine.
He reacts. The flame kicks up, and again, as our vision kind of pulls forward and pans over to him, we see he's turned with wide eyes, but nothing that really catches your eye beyond a normal reaction. You do not know how old Levi is, for instance, but as he turns and he faces you, no longer getting that profile shot, you can see a bit of a disfigurement that perhaps you weren't expecting, and perhaps it's where he gets his name. His jeans that he wears old and raggedy as they are. As he turns, you can see that the jeans themselves are weaved and stuck into his flesh, almost burnt into his leg. You see bits and pieces of scarred tissue over ragged pieces of jeans that linger on each side. You can see pieces torn away. It's not until around the mid-thigh to knee where that mixture gives way and it becomes just pants. It's difficult to see because on that profile shot, the t-shirt hung over the back and the majority of it seems to be on his front. But he turns, and unlike some other Nosferatu, he doesn't have a dislocated jaw or ripped up cheeks. He looks, well, he's a Nosferatu, bald, but it's more as though he's partially decayed, as though the corpse began the decomposition process. Flakes of skin hanging off, bits of his skin completely missing, exposing what might be muscle or sinew. It's hard to tell. But at a distance, it might take a second to tell for most people. But he doesn't say anything as he just whips around to see you appear. Does Max give him a moment to reply, or does Max continue the conversation?
He just sort of nods and says, "As you might have guessed, I'm Max."
He tilts his head ever so slightly to the left and takes one step off of the wall, splashing his other foot into a deeper part of the water as a frog leaps out of the way just in time, and you can see it land. And perhaps frog is the wrong word, it's probably a toad. And as he steps forward, he keeps about 10 feet between the two of you, and he just kind of looks to you. How tall are you again? 6-something, Max?
Max is he's 6 foot even, but
6
very
foot.
wide shoulders on a weird, emaciated, bat-like body. So,
Yeah, it's horrifying. This man is
The coat forgives a lot of sins. You know what I'm saying?
For him, he's 5'2". He's very short compared to you, and he looks up at you even from this distance. He keeps looking at you. He doesn't say anything yet.
So, Levi, huh?
He
I
nods.
get it. I hear you're gonna take me to Danoff.
I'm not gonna take you to Danoff. That's what you thought was gonna happen tonight.
Well, I've been wanting to meet the fella.
Yeah, you and everybody else who walks into the city knowing he's here.
Fair enough.
He
Very
looks,
well.
he
I'll
looks you
jump
up
through
and
the
down.
hoops. I'll jump through the hoops. What do you need me to do?
He looks you up and down. I don't think I've ever seen somebody where the curse turned them into a Hollywood movie monster.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky like that.
Why do you want to meet Danoff?
Well, I hear he's the big cheese, right?
You heard correct.
Right.
But
So
why
I'm
would he
new in
want to meet
town?
with you then? Let's reverse the question. What do you bring to the table that would bring him any desire to meet with you?
I got, what's the line from the movie? A certain set of skills.
He does a little breathy giggle at that. Yeah, but so does everybody else that's like us. A certain set of skills is not unique among our clan.
Yeah, well, I'm what you call top tier material.
I think he'd like your confidence. I like your confidence. So that's it. You just want to show face and show him you're worth a damn.
Also, I figured a visit might be polite. Let's face it, Danoff already knows about me and my crew, what we're doing here in town. I'm not going to insult him by pretending that he's in the dark about that. So I just wanted to meet up. Well, it's more of a personal matter, the other thing, but let's just say, it regards parental advice.
Oh, are we accidental embrace, a potential death where guilt won over?
Nah, nothing like that.
You don't like to... Well, I can only say that you're correct. Yes, he knows you're here, as we all do. And the reason you're here. And that's why he struggles. That's why I struggle. You don't know enough about Danov, I don't think. These political games, the Camarilla, the Anarchs, all of it's just a stage play. Why are you playing in it? It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, believe you me, I've had similar thoughts myself.
Well, then maybe
Yeah,
Gary might be a good place for you.
yeah, I like this burg. Everybody else thinks it's a shithole, but I could get used to it.
After you say that, he closes the 10-foot distance to about a foot or so, and he reaches out, he extends his hand, as small as it may be, especially in comparison to yours, a once World War II military veteran turned horrifying Nosferatu monster, to shake your hand.
Yeah, old-fashioned, huh? Sure thing.
And as you clasp it, you immediately notice, because it's so very strange, how warm his hand is. Blush of life, of course, can cause this. Does cause it, rather. However, blushing of life or meeting another Nosferatu feels like... Well, I'm not sure how Max feels about it. If that's what happened.
Max will comment on it. Why not? He's always blunt.
Sure.
You seem to got a real fire in your belly there, Levi.
Oh, you noticed. Well, smart wit about you. He pulls his hand back and kind of leans back in a very relaxed position on like one of his heels. He crosses his arms. And then that fire in me, as you say, is the big reason none of this matters. Is the big reason Danov doesn't care about any of this. You all play your political games. We all have. We have to survive. I'm not saying we don't and we just abandon it, of course. But there's more to it. The Camarilla think they sit on top. The Anarchs think they're right. And the Sabbat think they're on some holy crusade. All in service of very similar things. Power, control. People forget where they come from. But Danov is a man who saw beyond all of that. Who still sees beyond all of that. He searches for something that I'm sure you may have heard of, something that may or may not be fantasy, if you ask some. But me, I believe. Have you heard of vampiric, or should I say, kindred belief of Golconda?
Has Max heard of this?
Give me I will have you roll. Let me open a intelligence. Do you have anything in occult?
No.
So flat
Certainly
intelligence roll it is. And you can, if you care, like if this matters to you, you could rouse the blood and add 2d10 to the roll. I don't know what your flat roll is, and I don't think if you can.
Max would just be like, "No, just tell me."
Okay, so let's see if you know what it is. Let's roll. Let's see if you've heard of it. 3 successes.
Oh, hey.
Yes.
Okay.
You have heard of it. Not more beyond some weird rumors, and it's something you kind of only heard after as you began. Let's rewind for a minute out of game. Do you remember the holiday episode where you were touched by the salubri and you felt humanity? And I think you actually we talked about it a little bit after that. It was after that you learned of something called Golconda. And all you know, all the rumors is that whatever Golconda is, a path, a ritual, something you can diablerize, it's supposed to bring you back to your humanity. It is supposed to bring you to being essentially human again. It's the path back to quelling and taming the beast entirely.
Yeah.
But that's all. It's like, you know, the basics of that. You don't know anything else other than that. It's a weird word. You probably heard it a couple of times after your run-in with the salubri and you were doing your kind of like research about what she did to you. And then you've never heard it since.
Yeah, it's, I heard of it. Like, hippie shit for vampires, right?
Hippie shit for vampires is perhaps the best words I've ever heard to describe this. Yes. And he nods. Hippie shit for vampires that has evidence that it's true. And he kind of like looks to his hands. That fire in my belly. There's more beyond all this, Max. And that's what he wants you to know. For now. I come bearing that message. There is more beyond the Camarilla. The Sabbat, even the Council. They all sit on their thrones temporarily. Hundreds of years, thousands of years, maybe only a few decades. But they'll all come crashing down. But those who will survive, the Nkanu, those who follow the truth of the matter and desires, well, they will always be around. And I leave you with,
pal.
and he looks to you with a raised eyebrow. The Nkanu. That's what matters.
Nah, this is sounding a bit like Scientology to me.
He laughs. Kindred hippie shit. It was a pleasure to meet you, Max, and he'll know if you need another meeting or not. Enjoy yourself. And if you choose to continue running the path, I hope you succeed, and I hope peace finds its way to Gary. And if you're hoping that he'll help, I'll tell you now, he won't.
Well, you're giving me something to think about anyway there, Levi.
And you have
You
given
give,
me something to inspire future drawings of mine. And I don't mean that as an insult. You are majestic. You don't rot. You don't smell. You are almost as though the gangrel bane overwhelmed you and dominated you. It's so fascinating. And your sire looked similar.
Oh, you know that, huh?
Oh, I know information. I know things.
Yeah.
That's what we do, right? Nosferatu, we know things. We drink, just like the show, but we drink blood instead. We drink and we know things. Just a bad reference, sorry. It's been a while since I've Game of Thrones.
Okay there, Levi. You give Danoff my regards, huh?
I would, of course. And you, just be safe. And if you ever need a place to escape, should things go down, even if you don't want to join us. He wouldn't say join us, because it's not like a cult. It's if you don't, if our beliefs or doesn't, it's not something you wish to pursue further, you still have safety among your clan. And we will take care of you if need be.
Now, here's the thing. I got another Nos with me. My child. I assume the same applies to her.
She is Nosferatu like you? And then the answer is yes. I knew you came with another. I wasn't aware she was a Nosferatu, but perhaps another does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nosferatu.
And,
as long as you're not, as long as you have not betrayed nor stabbed us in the back in any manner, you will find sanctuary and haven among your others, your kind. Here.
Oh, wait, we got a cat, too. That's not going to be a problem, is it? Because,
Just, he chuckles. I'll just keep her out of the rat store.
well, no promises there, but,
Rat storage is what I mean, not the store. There's no rat store. We keep rat.
Yeah.
And no,
he kind of does what he wants, but, yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I was, I'm just, I'm unsurprising. I was a failed stand-up comedian in life, so I just keep trying. It just doesn't work.
You keep working on those Game of Thrones references, friend.
I will. And he just he kind of lightens the mood a little bit, and not lightens the mood, but he plays along. But quickly he's like, "Well, Max, you are a fascinating individual, and if half the rumors of what you and your crew accomplished in New York are true, you're certainly worth keeping an eye on at the very least."
Okay, then.
And let the other, if need be, the others are welcome to know that we know of you, but there's no, I don't want there to be secrets between us. It's not that kind of, we're not that kind of group.
Oh, a Nos who doesn't like secrets.
Oh, no.
Well, that's a new one.
I mean, let me reframe that for you, friend. No secrets among us, our kind, our clan. No.
Catches.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you, Max, and maybe next time, if there is a next time, I would love to meet your child and this cat.
So long, pal. Max will return to the tire shop. That's currently where everyone is.
Yes, that's usually where people hang. And as you ripple out of existence, as you walk away, you hear a voice. And your friend Duke should be back sometime tomorrow, I believe. He's been seen on the roads. And you hear splashing of footsteps, and then if you turn to watch, you will also see him vanish. You return over the course of an hour or so, eventually back to the tire shop. Robert and Vera are already there, long conversing, I imagine, about plans moving forward, the circulatory system being brought in, and so on. Sean would have joined at some point as well. Did you already return from the candy meeting? Yeah, we did the candy meeting return prior to the candy meeting episode. Got it. So Sean would be there as well. And is there anything the three of you would like to discuss while Max is gone, or do we just want to jump to when Max is arriving? As he always does, in the frame of the door, silently, Max reappears.
Hey, folks. What's the rumpus?
Well, we're making big plans here. Big plans.
I got some bad news and some good news.
Ugh.
All right.
Well, out with it.
Bad news is the local Nas seem to know more about our comings and goings than we do. The good
Well,
news.
they are, no offense, the Denzians of the deep. They seem to have their finger on the pulse of everything that comes in and out of most city. I'm not overly surprised. I've known many Nos to know many secrets in the dark.
Yeah.
How do you mean our comings and goings?
Well, looks like we can expect Duke back any time now.
Oh, good.
And
So your conversation must have gone well. You got information?
it didn't go bad. And like I say, there's, well, not much that we're going to get help from them help-wise, but they don't seem to be particularly antagonistic. The better news is that I can join a vamp hippie commune if I feel like it.
I'm going to tell you right now, communes are not the vibe.
Something tells me you don't feel like it.
We'll see. Friendly enough sorts, but they usually are.
Out of curiosity, Robert, was he ever informed as to any of the past of the New York stuff? Out of curiosity, Sean, does the mention of a commune strike in a particularly deep manner? It's your first time dealing with, the reason I ask, and usually I wouldn't ask as a frenzy check for this, a fear frenzy or whatever, but the reason I ask is because you are essentially a lick, and with the full beast writhing inside of you for the very first time. And as the mention of commune, I'm going to narrate this for a second. After the mention of commune slips from Max's lips, it's as though you instantly disassociate. You can hear them, you can see them, but there's that veil. Anyone who has ever experienced something like this, that veil that seems to sit before you, a cellophane wrap, keeping you from being truly present in the moment, from truly being able to be here. Instead, you're walled off in your own mind, and you hear your own thoughts going back, remembering the over a year you spent there, the rigorous stuff that you were introduced to, the discovery of a suicide UV light sun bomb, the VHS tape, Mia. And then you hear Father's voice. All of it can be yours. All of it. I live within you now. I am your drive. I cannot own this, but I can be proud of you. Take what belongs to you. A commune, a collection. You have vast potential, Sean. Don't let her squash it, control you like I tried. Be your own man. And as that last line echoes in the back of your mind, deep within the recesses of some dark waters, that cellophane wrap seems to disappear. And it's weird. The voices aren't louder, but suddenly you're paying a bit more attention to them. You can hear them again. And that maybe, in-game, was a couple of seconds. No more than that after Max mentioned commune. And the question I have for you is, would Sean make a fear frenzy roll? You don't have to take it. I'm putting it in your hands. You know Sean better than I do.
Normally I would say no, but given the fact that he had a weird vision recently, he would like.
And you heard
he would probably be a little bit freaked out.
You could be freaked out, but you don't want to. No fear frenzy. Everybody in the room may make a wits insight check. However, that'd be Vera, Robert, and Max. Robert, no, rather not Robert. Max and Vera can take a +1 to this, however, because they know Sean very well.
This will be a straight wits, but a +1.
Hell yeah, we love to hear it. Right, 1 success. All right, let's see what else. 2 successes for Max, and let's see what
A 2.
Max and Vera. It's subtle, not as subtle as Sean usually is, noticeable, but you watch the side. He's within your view. His eyes kind of snap open for a second, and there's just a moment or two where his eyes kind of dart away, and he's clearly thinking about something. And in that moment or two passes, seems to be okay again. Not like really long at all, but just something Max and Vera would pick up on because it's still rather subtle. It's just not as subtle as he usually is.
Max, of course, will just draw attention to it. Like, was it something I said?
Sean, you know that we're not involved with such cultist activities anymore.
This is the first that Robert would be hearing about any of this, and none of this would have context for you at all.
But you might be, Max?
Huh? Well, no, it was a joke.
Sarcasm. We've talked about this, Sean.
Yeah, of course it was sarcasm. I mean, that would be stupid. What did you find out?
I got a lot of stonewalling is what. Danoff, he ain't meeting up yet, and I don't know if his stooges, well, let's call him his associates, got any of the information we need.
What did they say? Oftentimes they give away more than you realize. You just have to dig a little deep.
You ever heard of Golconda?
You're all welcome to make me an intelligence occult roll.
Not gonna bother.
You know, I'm gonna save you the roll. Vampire hippie shit.
Let me see the roll either way though, because if anybody rolls really well, they might know a little bit more detail, and Robert might be one that might. Nope, just one. Vera.
I'm going to rouse. This seems important. Okay, sure. I'm going to rouse for this one. Great.
Okay, what's your hunger at?
3. Very hungry, Vera. But okay. Oops.
You add +2 to this.
Right. No, only got 1.
Dang. You would know. You would have the word in passing, and that's about it. Max knows more than you do about it. So Max, please.
Sounds
you said
like
I'll
a
make it
high-end perfume.
Yeah.
Is that like shawarma?
Probably. I'm thinking I now know why old Danoff's got a reputation as a bit of an eccentric.
Okay, further explain. What is it, Golconda?
Well, like I say, vampire hippie shit. Peace and love, basically. Tame the beast, you know? Free yourself of the beast. I don't know the terminology.
What?
But yeah.
Are these...
Yeah.
What, they're getting back to being human again or something ridiculous like that?
I think that's the end goal, yeah.
Well,
But probably more in a metaphysical sense than actually dropping your fangs.
Why don't they just step out into the sun then? Let nature take its course.
Well, look at it this way. It's always an option.
Well, who are we to judge another kindred's lifestyle? I,
What?
for one,
You do that all the time.
Yes, well, Sean,
You're a
I think what I'm
Toreador.
trying to say
I mean, that's all you guys do. Judge, judge,
is
judge.
that technically they gave us all we needed to know. If this Nosferatu bigwig is interested in a more human take on his second life, then all we need to do is prove to him that we're here for the betterment of the humanity of Gary, Indiana, and then he'll be more than happy to work with us.
Yeah, well, I didn't get the impression that he's a real softy despite his, shall we say, spiritual aspirations.
Well, I don't like to work with soft people anyways.
That's when, in that moment, hey, Vera! Garrett from Gary walks on in. Am I done? Can I go home?
Speaking of soft, yes, Garrett.
Thanks. And
Wait, did you count the till? Have you
Crystal
closed
did
the
it. She's
door?
better. She's way better at math than I am. Are you kidding me?
Did we make any money today?
Well, technically, we didn't break even.
Technically.
We didn't break even. So that's...
Okay. You know what? Duke's on his way home. I'll have him look at the books until they just piss off Garrett.
As you say that, the camera hard cuts to the street outside of the tire shop. A rumbling, loud engine is heard before we see a very familiar vehicle. What is that vehicle name again? I forgot again. I know it's that old school 70s fucking car that looks like a serial killer car. So I just forget what the name of it is.
Let's just leave it nebulous.
All right, yeah, that works. Whatever you think a serial killer car, listeners, that's what it looks like.
It's just not a van.
Yeah, it's not a van. As it pulls up and you hear the car get put into park and the engine rumbles to a stop, the lights go off. We see two figures within the vehicle. The details are hard. Duke, the entire drive was silent. No conversation, if you attempted to spin it up, happened, and the other did not as well. And as you park the car, you look to the side of the tire shop and you see Garrett just stepping out, probably mumbling to himself the way he's hunched over, but he's counting money, it looks like. And he throws some cash in his pocket and he wanders off. He looks in your direction, but doesn't think much of it, doesn't seem to know or wouldn't obviously know or recognize the car rather, because you were given it to by Vera right before you left. He looks and then he continues walking until he's out of distance. And as we hear the door open, we hard cut one more time. Back on the inside of the tire shop. And after some light conversation, probably talking more a little bit about this whole hippie situation, Vera would hear it and recognize it first. The heavy, slow, rhythmic, and methodical footsteps that 6'6" Duke Premind carries.
I imagine Vera stands and goes, "Oh, Duke is back."
Duke, do you walk in through the front door, back entrance? How are you approaching this place? The tire shop looks different. it looks remodeled, in the middle of being remodeled, mostly finished being remodeled at this point. Actually, probably like a good chunk of it's done.
It probably looks like a neon 90s club on the inside, but definitely still a garage, like clear shelving. There's t-shirts with the new logo on it that says Tires by Night. It kind of has a neon lady wrapped around the T.
Okay.
Does Duke, I imagine on the outside, as we see him approaching the camera that sits at the entrance of the tire shop, and he sees the neon lights and his eye line, he probably never lifts his head, but his eyes go up and he kind of sees at it. Do we see any facial expression, any visible reaction?
No, Duke doesn't.
That's why I figured.
He doesn't really know what he's walking into, but he was given some details that there is a business upstart, some sort of venture that has come to be.
As you finish walking toward it, you describe kind of like you're not feeling anything. We see a figure behind you. It's shrouded, it's hard to see, it's dark out, of course. But Duke never stops moving, following through the mission. And through the front door as it opens, down the stairs. And that's when Vera hears him, and he rounds the corner, and Duke stands there with A billfold and paperwork neatly organized, a rather well-cleaned, typical button-down white shirt and pants. And Vera greets him kind of eagerly.
Welcome home, Duke.
And as Vera says, welcome home, Duke, Duke simply takes a sidestep. And as he does, you can hear lighter, quicker footsteps right behind him. And as they reach the bottom, walking through the door, Robert, you've never seen this girl before. She's 5'5". She wears a pleather skirt with those really high lace boots. She has bi-colored hair of pink and light ice blue. And she wears a black mesh shirt with a neon green overcoat, but that's short-sleeved, that dangles just past her waist. And as she steps in, Max, Sean, and Vera recognize Mia. And that's where the episode will end. And we'll see you next week for episode 19 of Cracked Crown, everybody. Goodbye.